nothing now. So we are joined by our analysts, Phil Dare and Brian Mahler. We're going to talk about the Celtics. A lot to talk about this week, guys. This is the good thing about having 3 weeks between shows. We get a lot to talk about every time. First of all, we did, in the interim, have another game with the Miami Heat. It was round 2. And the Celtics played extraordinarily most of the game. The score is a little deceiving. We won. The Celtics won 112 to 107, but they were leading generally by a large margin the entire time. Though they allowed them to close the gap at the end to the 3 points, which is something that we're going to want to watch out for with the Celtics all year. But the top performers in this game, guys, were LeBron James and Ray Allen, both dished up 35 points. But let's talk about the differences in the ways they got there, because I think it's really important when it comes to really looking at the makeup and the substance of this team. Ray Allen, 7 of 9 from the 3-point line, and I think he went 13 of 23 from field goal range. LeBron James, 17 points from the free throw line, and 0 of 5 from the 3-point line. What's going on here? I mean, how big are these differences for these teams when you see top performers scoring the way that they do? Is that gonna affect the way that these matchups continue to go for these teams?
I would think so. I think what you saw in both Heat games is the Heat are still a work in progress, and LeBron James potentially might not be the guy that you can go to. He might not be somebody that can carry a team. He needs people around him, and right now, both games, Wade did very little, and Bosch was almost non-existent. So if he needs those two people to bring his game up, he could have some trouble with that, you know.
I think part of the problem with LeBron is he's not a good jump shooter. Lots of his game, lots of his highlights are driving the lane, throwing down dunks, and that's LeBron, throwing his arms around, screaming, yelling, and that's what everyone sees on SportsCenter. That's what everyone's excited about, but he's not a good jump shooter. So I think the Celtics defense, they focus more on Dwayne Wade, who's more of an all-around scorer than I think LeBron is. They focus on him, shut him down, make LeBron shoot jump shots, and he's just not going to be as effective. And then to address your point from the free throw line, I think that's just one of the problems with that league, is that superstars get a lot more.
You mean 22 attempts than I do?
I mean, and I'm pretty sure the Celtics as a team had like 25 that game.
Well, I know Ray Allen only had 2 attempts. He made 2 of 2. Scored 35 points. So it's just
exactly.
Yeah.
It's something skewed. I don't know what
Very
they're doing. Why?
Right.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, another huge factor for the Celtics this year has been Rajon Rondo. He's been invaluable to this team's system, the way they're functioning successfully right now. You can't say enough about what he's doing for this team and the role that he's playing for this team. The C's youngest starter is leading the league in assists by far. I mean, right now I think he's averaging after last night's game, averaging 14.9 assists per game.
Almost 15, yeah.
Almost 15, yeah, right around 15. Right behind him, the next guy, Jason Kidd, between Jason Kidd and Deron Williams, around 10. So, I mean, that's a huge jump from first to second and third, fourth, fifth places. What is Rondo doing right now that's separating him from the other elite point guards in the league?
Well, I think he puts himself in much better situations. He understands that he has a huge basketball IQ, great basketball IQ. And I think he can set your offense up in such a way that he can open passing lanes that some other point guards might not. And his quickness also will open up passing lanes that other point guards might not be able to get. And I think that another big thing is he pushes the pace a lot, and he's obviously the motor of this team. And when he's pushing the pace, that's when you see them so successful. You get transition threes from Ray Allen, and you're getting, Shaq running the floor because he knows at the other end he's going to get rewarded with a pass. So, I mean, I think that's just a huge part of his success, and I think that's why they struggle when they get big leads, is because then they start walking the ball up the floor and slowing things down, and that's just not their game. They're not a good half-court team.
He's very smart out there, too. He understands the game, it seems, very well. He may see passing lanes that other point guards don't really see. Mm-hmm. I think he makes the most of his time, too. Like you can see sometimes with the inbound passes, he won't even touch the ball. He'll wait till it gets up the court. If he's got nobody on him, he just lets it come to him. We still got time on the clock. Gives him more time to figure out what he's got to do.
He's something that you don't see a lot in this league, which is he's an unselfish player. And granted, he's not going to be scoring the same way that other point guards are scoring because he just can't. I mean, he's got a different talent base, but he's an unselfish player, and that's what makes this team. He elevates them from a bunch of all-stars, a little bit washed up, to people that can still play like they're in their prime.
That's what his position's supposed to be.
Right.
A point guard's supposed to be facilitating to the other players, making things easier for them, setting up their shots, and he does exactly that.
Absolutely. And, you can't say enough about this team's depth and the way they spread the ball out. 6 players in the last 2 games playing with double digits scoring-wise. The Celtics' Big Three era has been praised as a defensive team, but this year they've kind of elevated their offense to a new level. People are just scoring out of their minds. On Saturday night in a wild game against Memphis in overtime, all 5 of the Celtics starters and their 6th man of the night, happened to be Nate Robinson, scored in the double digits. Granted, it was an overtime game, but this is where they shine. This is where they shine, is when they're put to the, it's down to the grindstone, and these guys are scoring the way that they are. Rondo with another double-double, 17 assists that night. And Delonte West last night, 12 points. So he was the 6th man. He's back in action, and that was a big deal for the Celtics. So you've got Nate Robinson, you've got Delonte West, you've got Glenn Davis, these guys coming in that can score double digits for you, this rotating system on top of your starting 5. And you've even got Shaq scoring double digits at this point, which is just a
Not
great
what you
addition.
expected.
No, and it's not what you expected. I mean, 18 points the other night. Yeah. Unbelievable. How is the offense different this year than it's been in recent years, where the defense has been the cornerstone and the offense has been secondary? How do you think that's going to continue across the season, and how is it different this year? Why is it different?
Well, I think the defense is still their focus. That's what they want this team to be about. But I think the reason their offense is much better is because when that second unit gets in the game, I joked the other night when they were beating the Wizards that their second unit with Nate Robinson, Delonte West, Marquise Daniels, Glenn Davis, and Semi Arden for right now could start for other NBA teams. So I think that usually when you see a drop-off from your starters to your bench, that's where points start going down. You don't see as much. And right now they're playing just as well as that starting unit.
There's no letdown.
There isn't. It's just as exciting to watch that second unit as it is the
I
first.
think a lot of those guys on the second unit, particularly people like Glenn Davis, like they feel that they should be in that starting unit, and they feel, like you said, that they should be the starters on other teams in the league, and they have that ability, I guess, to channel that, and they fight to get out there, and their minutes are precious to them, so they want to do the best that they can, and it really shows.
And Glenn Davis is my pick my early pick for 6th man of the year. I love the way
everybody,
he's playing.
you have to say that you heard it here first.
Yeah, that's like
Brian
November.
Mahler, our Celtics analyst here. Yeah, he's picking Glenn Davis, which I think is a great pick. I think he's been playing out of his mind, and what's really incredible is that, especially in the game last night when they were blowing out the Wizards, most of the fourth quarter was second and third string guys. It was guys that were our starters saw. I think Ray Allen saw 20-something minutes for the first time this season. Yeah. And they all still scored in double digits. I mean, these guys scored double digits in 25, 26, 27 minutes. And then in the fourth quarter, our second and third guys for the Celtics are outscoring the Wizards starters by 11 points in that quarter.
Sad testament for the Wizards.
It is. I mean, the Wizards without John Wall are looking a little bit flat. I can definitely say that. Oh, yeah. Although we were excited to try to see John Wall, the Wall-Rondo face-off, but well, yeah.
Till next time.
I'll take it. I'll take a 31-point win, I guess. Oh, yeah. I think I can handle that.
I'm not going to give it back.
Yeah, no. Absolutely. So, you guys, we got breaking news here today. We've got him coming up with the Glenn Davis 6th man. So
yes,
everybody,
watch it.
you really, I want everybody in the Dead of Mary to be giving Brian Mahler the credit for that one, if he gets that. We'd love to see that happen. Maybe if not him, maybe Nate. We've got a couple options. That's the good part about this team. We've got options all around. I really don't want to move on to the next segment without Mike, but I'm not really sure where he is. He has a little thing going with Joe Morgan. I don't know if you guys could tell, but he was...
He'll be right in.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, he's going to... Oh, he's shooting around right now.
That's gotta go.
Here he is.
He's lazy.
Can we get an applause for my co-host?
Thank you. Yep. Just hanging out with Joe, shining up a little bit, so I'm back.
Yes. Now, I think we're supposed to be talking to Chris Epting next.